Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we will see how we can use rn-diff-purge to upgrade our React Native version. Whenever React Native has a new version, it's good to keep up to date with it. Normally the options we have for upgrading normally is React Native Git upgrade. This is a tool that Facebook creates and it helps us with upgrading our React Native application. The problem with this, the other option we have is we can use a repo called rn-diff on GitHub, and this one provides us the diffs between every version of React Native with the next one. Both of these ways have their problems, and now we can have a third option, the rn-diff-purge. rn-diff-purge is a new project that can help us with upgrading. Here is how rn-diff-purge works. Initially we created a React Native application just by using React Native init. Every time there's a new React Native version, we delete the previous project and then we generate a new one using the same command. Because we use the same command, but this time using the new version of React Native, there will be some different files or differences inside those files. Then what we do is we create a diff between the old and the new project. And this is how we get all of the differences for every new version of React Native. The benefits of this new repository is that we can see the differences in the template. When we create a new React Native project using React Native init, this script will download the template for us and it will give it the name that we give it. Every time there's a new React Native version, things inside those template files change. It's important for us to see what the changes in this template was, because sometimes APIs change and it's good to keep up. Both React Native Git upgrade and the rn-diff do not let us do that. They just upgrade the files that we have without taking into account any changes in the API or file system or template files. Another benefit of the way that we use with rn-diff-purge is that we can pick and choose what we want. If we see that the template files have changed in a way that we don't care, then we can just leave this out of our upgrade. Of course, that means that we need to upgrade manually every time, but this investment in time once is better than having to deal with it later, deal with any error we might get because of differences in files that we don't want. Because of the way rn-diff-purge works, basically throwing away the old version and generating a new one, it will always give us a new clean diff. It is much easier and faster to generate those new diffs that we can just check afterwards and apply them to our projects. React Native 0.58.0 was out a couple of days ago, so let's try to upgrade. Here is the GitHub repo for React Native, and if we go to releases, we will see that 58 was out 3 days ago. If we want, we can go ahead and open the changelog and get informed about any changes that might have happened. After reading this, we are ready to upgrade. This is the rn-diff-purge repository, and if we scroll down a little bit, we will see a table of all of the diffs of all of the versions in React Native. As we can see here, we have a diff between 20.58.0. If we go to our package, we can see which version we have, and we have 57.8. That means that if we apply this diff to our project, we are ready to work with 58. Let's go ahead and do that. Clicking on this link, we will see a diff with all of the changes in the templates. We can see here which are these files. Let's go one by one and make the changes manually. First of all, we see that bubble, the file .bubblerc has been removed. But as we saw up here, there's a new one, bubble.config.js, that is created, which is exactly the same, but this time in JavaScript. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to our bubble.rc file. We see that our bubble.rc file is a little bit has a few more things. But the main idea of this change and the diff here is that they created the same file in JavaScript. So let's go and do that. First we will copy all of our code. We will create a new file. We will call it bubble.config.js. Let's paste our code and then make it valid JavaScript. We see that the file from the diff has presets, module, metro, React Native, bubble preset, which is exactly the same as we have, so we are good to go. The rest of the code here is something that we had in our application already, and there's no difference in the template, so we can just keep it. Let's go to the next difference. Now we see that flow config has some changes. Let's go there and do that too. We will go all the way down, and from 78 we will move it to 85. Also done. Next thing we see is that our app.js has some comment here for linting. In this case, we don't care about this, so we can go ahead and skip that. Next we see that there's a new file, tests/app.js, and it has a test for rendering. This one, if we don't have some tests, we can go ahead and add this, but in our case, let's assume that we have our own tests and we don't care about this specific one. So let's go ahead and skip that one. Now we see some differences in the Android building. Let's go and copy these over. We see here that this code is now deleted, and instead this is replaced. Next one is that this block is deleted, and again some new code is added. We can go ahead and save this. We are done. On the next one we have Android bundle. We have Android app build.gradle. We can search for NDK, and we can go ahead and delete these 3 lines exactly as the diff. Then we will go a little bit further down and add the new code here. We will go to the next one a little bit further down, and again we will add the new code. Next we see that there is a new file, Android app build devs bzl for Bazel. We see that there is a new file, Android app build devs. So let's go ahead and create this file. We need to go to our Android folder, app folder, and inside here we create the new file, build devs. Since this is a whole new file that we see contains the functions that we used above, we can just go ahead and copy this whole file. We can go to view file, we can go to raw, copy this whole text, add it here, and we are done. Let's go back to our diff. The next file that has a change is the Android manifest. Let's find that and add the new code. Great. Let's go to the next one. Then we have the Android build Gradle. Can just change the numbers. And done. Let's go to the next file, Gradle wrapper properties. Let's see what the difference is, and we see it's only one number. Can go ahead and do that. Next we have our bubble config.js, which we already did. So let's keep going. Here we see index.js in the root folder. Again, we have some comments that are for formatting and linting, and in our case we don't care about this, so we can go ahead and skip it. The next file we have is the Xcode project. In Xcode project we see that we basically have the JavaScript core framework added, and we see that we just have it in a few places. Let's go ahead and open our Xcode here and try to add the changes here. We have our targets, Playground app and Playground app for tvOS. We can go down here and add the JavaScript core. Once we open Xcode, we will go on our project and we have Playground app and Playground app tvOS. Let's select the first target, go down here, press add, and then we will add the JavaScript core. Let's do the same for all of our targets. Once we have this added, we can go and check our git diff and see if it's similar to the one that we have on the website. Here we have some of the diff. If we go to our project, we can see that we have these two lines up here, these two lines down here, and then one more. If you go to the website again, we see that we have the two lines here, one and one. And then lastly, we have two more down here. Let's check if we also have them, and we do have them. We have the one, and then bottom two more. This should be enough for our diff. Everything else, as we can see, is just things that are reordered. For now, this is the best we can do with Xcode until we have a way to have a declarative project. Let's go to the next file, and we see on the app-delegate.h we have some changes for the copyrights, and again on the .m file, same thing. Next we have some changes in a JS code location, so let's go and do that. Here we don't need the Xcode anymore, so we can go back to our code editor, but if we want, we can keep doing the changes here. We have the app delegate here, but let's go to our editor and do it. We will go to our app delegate.m, and we see that we have this whole block deleted, and the new line is JS code location, and then the bundle, URL provider, shared settings, bundle root, index, fallback resource. So it's basically the same line as this one. If we want, we can just copy this, delete this whole block, and then paste. Let's go a little bit further down, and we see that the root view background color is changed. It's not a 111, so basically white anymore, but we will make it black. So we will delete one bracket, like we see here, and then we will delete everything else. Change this to black color. We can save this file, go to the next. We see main.m, again the copyright changes, the test copyright changes, and then the last one is the package.json. Let's go to our package.json, and we will change our version from 57.8 to 58.0. Next we see that there is Bubble Core 7, so let's go and do that. We see that we already have Bubble Core here, so we just need to change the versions to make sure that they are compatible. So we will go to 7.0.0, bridge 0. Last thing is the Metro React Native Bubble preset, which we have down here. We see that we already have the version that is required here. So we can save the file, and this upgrade is done. Now all we need to do is do yarn install. This will make sure that we have all the latest packages, and now we can do yarn start bg like we had before, so it goes in the background. Once we have the packager, we will go ahead and run iOS. This will run React Native run iOS in the simulator, and it will build our application. I don't see any better way. We cannot wrap these, and even if we could, it would look very hard, but we need to have both of them next to each other to do the upgrade. One thing you can do to make sure the Xcode changes on the project are a little bit easier to verify, is you can open Xcode and make sure you run the application, and then make sure that you stage all of the changes. Once you have the changes staged, you can go ahead and add the JavaScript core or any change that the diff might have, like we said before. And then after this is added, if we go back to our Git, we see that the changes are exactly as they are on the diff. 2 lines of JavaScript core framework, 2 more, 1, 1, and 2. And this, you will see, are the same 2, 2, 1, 1, and 2. Of course, for this, again, we need to make it manually because the template has 2 specifically targets, and the targets are exactly the ones that we have here. So it's one for iOS and one for tvOS. If we had the second one here for our application, for example, one production and one beta, and we didn't have a tvOS, then we would still have 2. If we kept the tvOS, so we had one app target for beta, one app target for production, and then one for tvOS, then we would have 3 of these. So we would 3 lines, and then 1, 1, 3 times, so 1 more, and then we would have 3 lines again here. So the structure of Xcode has a few things repeated, but the pattern is the same. Once the build is ready, we can go back to our application, and we see the first change that broke our application. We changed the color to black. This means that we don't give a background in any of our views. It will remain black. To fix this, let's go to the screen that we have. We see that, for example, here we have the safe area. Let's make it into screen. We need to go up here, import screen. We have it already. Now once we save, it will stay black because we still don't have any background. But in the screen, we can go ahead and change our screen component. We see that here, the screen has just the safe area view with flex. We can go ahead and add some colors here. We can use our unified resources and add white. Now our application is back to normal. We saw how to upgrade our React Native application using rn-diff-purge. On the next video, we will talk about feature toggles. See you there.